Hey everybody, thanks for downloading the show. Sorry there wasn't a bonus show on Thursday like I said there would be. I was going to have Rhoda Young on to announce the TV show that she's going to be on this week, but I figured it would be better to have her on a bonus episode later this week to talk about it. That way we can all watch it and she can go into more detail about what they did on the show. I can say that this Tuesday, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, this Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, Rhoda will be on Tosh.0 on Comedy Central. I'm really excited to see what they do on that show. It should be a hell of a good time. So this Thursday, she will be on the podcast to talk about that and a story about her hotel room when she went to California to be on Tasha's show. That's a hell of a story, so trust me, you don't want to miss this Thursday's episode. I meant to talk about this on the last episode of the show, but I had jury duty the week before last. I've never been on jury duty before. It was really weird. I show up, sign in, they sit me in a room with all the other people, and at first it was really quiet, but as the room filled up, it got more talkative, and I was really tired. I'm used to sleeping late. I don't get up till at least 10 o'clock, and I have to be there at 9:30. So I didn't talk to anybody unless they talked to me. All the conversations were mostly about how they didn't want to be there and things they thought of to try to get out of it. There was about 30 of us in the room, and we wait for a long time. Then we all get brought into the courtroom. They start calling the first 12 in sequential order by the juror numbers, and I knew I wasn't going to get picked because I was 90 numbers away from where they started. I was all the way on the other side of the list. Once all 12 people got called up, the judge comes in, and he tells everybody what the case is about. It was a pretty intense case. The guy was accused of domestic violence, battery, abduction, and kidnapping. But the judge gave about a 10-minute speech about how the guy is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Not everybody will be picked as a juror. Either side, the prosecutor or the defense, can have somebody dismissed when they ask the questions to see if they want you on the jury. Not to take it personally. You just weren't right for the case, and everybody will get a trophy at the end. Okay, I made the trophy thing up, but that'll probably happen someday if enough people ask for it. One guy got dismissed because he said he was a Baptist and only God can judge somebody, which I thought was a little forced. I think he just said that to get out of there. Another person was dismissed because she was a victim of domestic violence in the past, which I can totally see that. At one point, they just asked the jurors that were up there if anybody just didn't want to be there. And there was one guy who clearly did not want to be there, and he was trying to get dismissed by the way he was answering questions, but when they asked that, he wouldn't raise his hand, and I thought that was kind of annoying. They're asking if you want to go home. You want to go home, raise your hand, and go home. I don't get it. It's not like they're going to find you in contempt of court. They're giving you a free pass to walk, and the guy just wouldn't take it, but they ended up dismissing him anyway because it was really clear he wanted to go home. But it was crazy how many people they let go. I was starting to think I was going to get called up by the time it was over. There was like 3 of us that were not on the jury out of all 30. I was supposed to call in every day to see if I had jury duty. So when I was able to leave, I asked if I had to keep calling in. And the lady told me that I did, but it probably wouldn't have to come back since I already got called. And wouldn't you know it, I got called in last week too. I almost didn't go because I was up at about 2 a.m. listening to music, trying to find a new theme song for the podcast. If you remember about a month, maybe 2 months ago, when I said that I was going to change the song at the beginning of the show, probably by the next week. And it's been months. If you noticed, I didn't have any music at the start of the show like I normally do. But anyway, while I was doing that, I realized I didn't call into jury duty. And I didn't think much of it since I was there last week. I thought I would just call just in case, but I didn't really think I was going to have it. And that's when I found out I had to be there the next day at 9:30 a.m. So for some reason, I couldn't get to sleep till around 4. Then I woke up at 6 a.m. and couldn't go back to sleep until like 7:30. And then I had to get up at 8 to get ready because longtime listeners, you know, where I live is pretty far away from the rest of civilization. So by the time I get ready and drive to the courtroom, it's going to take me a long time. So this time I get there and there's so many people that they wanted me to wait outside of the waiting room because I got there a little late. Not late, but later than the rest of the people. And I just started walking around the hall because I knew if I sat down, I was going to start to get sleepy. It was the same group as last week. So I did overhear people say, who were on the jury last week, that they found the guy guilty on all charges. So I was kind of glad that I went so I could find out what happened. I didn't feel like looking it up. I couldn't even remember the guy's name anyway. About an hour later, they call us into the courtroom, and there's nobody in there. And the judge comes out, and he's dressed in plain clothes. He doesn't have his robe on or anything like that. And he lets us know that the guy took a plea deal. Then he starts telling us what the guy was charged with, and he was pulled over by a police officer, and he found a concealed weapon. It was fully loaded, which you're not allowed to have a loaded gun in a car, and the guy was a felon. He's not even allowed to have a gun. Then he also starts telling us who the guy was going to bring in as witnesses and what they were going to testify to. I guess a woman was going to come in and say that the gun belonged to her, and she had it ready to go because she was scared of somebody, which is kind of weird because she wasn't even in the car. So it looks like if she was that scared, she would have kept it on her, but whatever. It didn't sound like the guy was going to have a good case anyway. So the judge also said that in his 26 years that he's been doing this, he's never had every juror show up for jury duty. The other interesting thing I thought was he said that if people don't show up, he subpoenas them and has them show up to explain why, which I think would be intimidating. This is my first time doing jury duty, but I know a lot of people just kind of skip it. And the last judge, it was a different judge, and he didn't say any of this stuff. This judge said that there's also a $250 fine for not showing up. And since we were called in twice, anybody who didn't show up either time is going to be facing a $500 fine for both times, not just the length of the jury duty thing. So I'm really glad that I was up late, or I might have not remembered to call in at all, and I would have been fined $250, and I can't afford that, especially for no reason. And to be honest, I was so tired, I actually thought about just skipping since so many other people didn't show up last time, but I'm glad I went because the judge that we had this time was completely no nonsense. And I would have had to go anyway because he would have subpoenaed me to explain myself in addition to my fine, which sucks. Going along the same vein of police officers pulling people over, I'm a big fan of the TV show Live PD, and it's a hell of a show. Basically, it's kind of like Cops, but it's in real time, and they follow, I think it's 6 to 8 different police departments around the country in the U.S. And during one of the episodes, I think they made a commercial out of this now, and that's why it came to mind, but they pull a guy over for a DUI, and he's trying to prove he's not intoxicated, so he does a backflip. And when he's done, the officer handcuffs him, and the guy says, "Why are you handcuffing me? I just did a backflip." And the cop's like, "Yeah, that's not normal behavior." The show comes on Fridays and Saturdays, 9 to midnight, and I like to have it on because it's just something in the background. You can kind of drift in and out of it. You're not going to miss any plot points or anything like that. So it's good to have on the DVR if you just want something on in the background to kind of kill time and be entertaining. Can't do that with sitcoms or movies, but I'm a fan of a lot of reality TV shows. My favorite is Big Brother. When it's on, I watch every minute of it with my family. I even watch the daily Big Brother After Dark episodes on Pop TV. I just have those on in the background during the daytime. I've been saying for a while that I'm going to have Mark and Elena on from the last season of Big Brother. Elena is a really funny person. She's had a radio show when she was in Texas. She left that to be on the show. Mark is a great guy. He's got a fantastic story that we'll get into later, and he's become a personal trainer now that he's left the show. I spoke with Mark over the weekend, and they should be on very soon, but that's not all. I'm also taking part of Mark's 6-week Summer Ready Fitness Challenge to help me get in shape and work on some of my health issues. I've never done an official fitness program before, so I'm anxious, but I'm excited because I know I got to do this. Right now, I'm about 200 pounds, but I should be around 160, 170, somewhere in there. I've been saying for a long time that one day I was going to get my health issues taken care of and get into shape. Today, I'm turning one day into day one. If you want to check out the program, go to Mark Jansen, that's Jansen, fitness.com. And if you sign up, let me know because it would be cool to do this with some of you guys. And the program starts today if you're listening to this the day it comes out on Monday. But I believe he's taking signups through Friday, and it's only $60. If you're a long-time listener, you know I don't spend money very easily, so you should know it's well worth it. And I'm all in on this. I'm cutting out all the soda, the junk food, fast food, all that stuff while working out. But I was eating and drinking as much of that as possible over the weekend. The program ends right before my birthday, so I'll be looking good for my birthday party and can still have cake and ice cream. Speaking of big events, the podcast's 200th episode will be coming up very soon. I'm going to debut new intro music and try to get all the people who contribute to the podcast on that episode. The rest of the month is going to be a lot of fun too. This is episode 197. Thursday's episode with Rhoda and possibly Mark and Elena will be 198. Then next Monday, I will hopefully be talking to Kenny Bolin and Benny Mac to end the month of April with episode 199. So episode 200 will be the first episode of May, and May is going to be a lot of fun. I'll have new intro music. I'll have a lot of fun new guests and some returning favorites. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of that. The podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, SiriusXM Spoke, and anywhere podcasts are available, including YouTube and Roku. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for downloading the show. I'll talk to you Thursday.